Spark a conversation, verbal elation, stimulation, education. This is Menage with the MariJayneMaven. When we on the air, it's always a lituation. Might talk about some litigation, might talk about some immigration, might talk about some politics, but never talking nonsense. Yes, we on in the slide. Watch and listen, it's a vibe. Watch it while you getting high, or you can listen while you drive. Just don't forget to subscribe.
Roll up. Trying to get high.
Welcome to Menage with the MariJayneMaven podcast with your host, the MariJayneMaven. I am the producer, the hubby. Follow us on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Show us some love and click that subscribe button now. Don't forget to click the bell so you get notifications and click the like button on the videos.
And now, your host.
Hello. Welcome to Menage with the MariJayneMaven podcast. You know who it is. It's your girl, MariJayneMaven. How are you all doing today? I hope that you're having a blessed day full of love and light. I hope that you are elevated properly and that you are living the best luminous life that you can. No, I am. Trying to anyway. So I want to start the day off and start this episode off by reminding you all, please, I know you love me. I know you do. And I love you too. But to show that love, please go like, follow, subscribe, press that button, share, leave us a comment, be involved. Let's be interactive. If you guys have kids, they're like on Netflix, those whole interactive, shows that you can do. I think I have a little more fun than my son does. It's kind of like the Choose Your Own Adventure books. Choose your own adventure with me. Be interactive. Let's get it together. Shout out to, of course, Full Swap Radio as well, which, of course, we are a family member. That is somewhere else that you can find my podcast. This one, plus the other, 3 out of the 5 that you'll be able to find on Full Swap. So shout out to them as well. You guys know where to follow me. You know where you can holler at me. So please do that. We have a very, very special guest today. This has been this has been a thing in the making for some months now. But as I mentioned to her, this is, the universe knows exactly what the hell it's doing. And this is the perfect time. I feel that it's perfect because, as I mentioned last episode, this is a very special month. I want everybody to go ahead and be just as excited as I am, because this is an important time in our society's history. It's my birthday month. Shout out. Hey. March 23rd, don't forget. I'm not gonna let you forget. No. Thank you, hubby. So, good morning to him as well. My sexy hubby, my producer, my supporter, my best friend. So we also have a very special month because this is a time in history that should kind of like Black History Month. Black History should be every day. Women's History Month, women's history, the greatness and the fierceness and the fabulousness of women should be celebrated every day as well. But March is Women's History Month. And so this whole month that we're going to be having guests that, are either women, of course, don't have to actually be in the cannabis industry, or those that love women and that support and work with women. So I think we have a couple of male guests lined up for the latter part of the month that work very closely with women. So before I ramble off for the next 30 minutes to an hour with you guys, I do want to introduce you to today's guest co-host. Thank you so much. So, as I mentioned, this guest co-host has been a minute in the making, but I am so excited to have her on. Coach Ash is a cannabis entrepreneur with a master's in medicinal cannabis science and therapeutics. Look, hey, Black people, science. Come on, we don't go ahead and get in there. Get in where we fit in. She's co-founded a culinary event company called Green Light Project that hosts elevated edible experiences, and a consulting company called Winning Coaching that provides HR workshops for leaders and management teams. After the pandemic, there's a lot of organizations that definitely need those kind of workshops, especially if they've made the pivot to home, people being on home and being, remote. Got to bring that back together. You got to keep the productivity up and keep those relationships as strong as they can be. And so I want to welcome, and please, everybody else welcome as well, the fantastic. This woman is going to be made. We're going to be hearing about her within the cannabis industry and I think other business aspects for a very long time. So everybody, please welcome our guest co-host, Coach Ash.
Oh, yes. Come through with the affirmations and the manifestation. Yes.
Yes, I love that. Oh, love that. Oh, and reminder, did everybody set their intentions? New moon. This moon is in Pisces. It's all about creativity. It's all about being self-reflective, especially for Aries, because we're so close. But I'm going to tell you guys now, please set your intentions. Don't think it's a weird thing. Don't be like, well, the Bible doesn't say it. I'm not knocking anybody, but if that's the route that you believe in for your spirituality, that plays in hand too. Being able to set your intentions because it helps you to grow and to make those changes that need to be changed. And accountability is a huge thing for me. It allows you to be accountable. And when you're responsible for your own change, it's so much more rewarding.
Real quick, with the setting of the intentions, how long does that last? Is it like a 1 month period, a 3 month, the rest of the year? How does it?
You can do it. You definitely do it every month. You want to.
Okay.
I think journaling and hoping to set your intentions every month works. But as far as when I'm working on, it's kind of like the full moon and things like that. And you want the energy. Keep this in mind, guys. We are all parts of energy. We're all part of this universe. We're all just like balls of energy. So when we're working within nature and working within the universe, everything coincides. So you may not be somebody that believes, like the moon, blah, blah, blah. But the best times to do these things and when you feel most connected and when you're most successful is when there are new moons, when there are full moons. So this was a new moon. So at the beginning of every month, that's when I would recommend. I use apps. Everybody knows I use apps. Apps, look, it helps to keep me together. So I found an app called Moonifest. It actually helps you. It allows you to see how to set intentions, maybe like what some examples our intentions are. It tells you if you are interested in creating an altar because you want to use crystals or something like that. It allows you to learn how to do that. So it's very powerful. So that is the app that I use this month because I was kind of at a block. I kind of didn't know. You're a fan, my brain works on like this all the time. So it allowed me to kind of focus on what innately I knew that I needed to kind of focus on for this month, which is getting a little healthier. It's not that I eat bad. I just probably don't eat enough because I'm moving. And then my 13-year-old eats everything in the house. He acts like I shop just for him. And he acts like he's supposed to just eat everything and go, that's what's left for the rest of y'all. So between my 13 and 10-year-old, both boys, they're going to keep me. They'll keep me together. I'm not snatched, but I'm not, I'm not a Rasputia either. Like I'm not named that. So, but Coach Ash, welcome once again. This, this, like I said, has been something that I have definitely looked forward to. And, I thought this was going to be the best time. December was going to be the best time. Towards the end of the summer. Beginning of the year, first part of the year. But I think, like I said, that this month, it's a gift to me, but also, like I said, it's very powerful because of the month that we're in. So as we start, I do want to go ahead and before we jump into our spark and salutations and all that good stuff, guys, I start off every episode with a couple of quotes. So I have 2 quotes for this episode. The first one being, investing in women means investing in the people who invest in everyone else. Bars and fire. Thank you, Melinda Gates. And she knows. Because if you guys don't know who that is Bill Gates' wife. You have to. She can tell you about investing in somebody else. Because I'm sure they were broke. I'm sure there was times when she was like, if you don't leave this harebrained idea somewhere else, like this is ridiculous. But she does her own thing too. She's developed herself as an individual although, foundation. Yeah. 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 And I have to say the gates of people that give back, you got dough. Okay. Dough upon dough, but they give back. So I do want to give it out to, the caucasoids that do give back. The wahites, they're the good ones, guys. I don't want anybody going, oh gosh. Second quote is, fearlessness is like a muscle. I know from my own life that the more I exercise it, the more natural it becomes to not let my fear run me. That is Ariana Huffington. Also fire. If you guys don't know who she is, if you don't know great businesswoman, very smart. I mean, a cougar in heels. Okay. Just the way that you should be. She has probably been called a bitch. She's probably been called overly aggressive. She's probably been called all of those, negative things that when a man does it, it's him being, who's a go-getter. Oh, he just, he doesn't stop. He's just this. Same kind of aspect, but within a very strong woman. And you guys know how I am about fear. Lack of passion is fatal. And you cannot live within fear. You have to step out of living in fear and step into your passion and purpose. And so I really love that quote. And these are things, both of those quotes, I think really define some of the aspects that will make women so integral, of course, within our society, but just fire. I mean, we're just fire. Like, we do everything. Yeah. So I live by quotes. I live by affirmations. And they just speak volumes to me. So I like to share those at the beginning of every episode. Are there any rituals that you utilize? Like, do you look at quotes when you need to, affirmations, you meditate? What is something that you do that helps to get you in the space of realizing your power and your passion?
Yeah, it'll definitely be my morning routine. So waking up in the morning, starting off with prayer. I then hop on a 6 a.m. accountability call that I lead. And then during that call, I'm doing some kind of workout, whether it's cardio on the treadmill or, a workout at the gym. And then getting into the shower. In the shower, I have posted my goals and my mantra. And so making sure that I'm saying that and identifying, setting my intention for the day. So definitely the morning routine is something that's crucial for me to be able to make sure that I'm in that right space and I'm not reacting to my day. I'm, intentional and responding.
Yeah. Well, I have chills. And once everybody knows this, watch this. When I get chills, that means it's like, I'm really feeling it. I wish you could see, but I do have chills. 2 reasons. One, I'm feeling some way about myself. She says 6 a.m. Man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very honest. Getting up for this when hubby reminded me that he was like, babe, it's 10 a.m. And I was like, 10 a.m. where? Like 10 a.m. on different time. So like 10 a.m. to me, I was like, what? Especially after the pandemic, because when my children are home, my husband's a teacher, the hubby's a teacher. Everybody knows. Everybody was home. So I didn't have to get up and be like, get to school. Hubby got the kids up. They were downstairs. They got everything by themselves. He got up, a little bit later when he needed to. He taught from our room. So I could only hear. I learned algebra and geometry all over again, but in my sleep. So let me tell you, there were plenty of times when I was like, oh, good morning. He's like, babe, it's 12:30. 12:30. So I will have to say I've gotten a little bit lady of leisure and gotten used to sleeping a little bit later. But so me getting jealous or feeling some way, it's the universal way of telling me, you hear that, bitch? Start your day a little bit earlier. But to follow up on that, if you guys read any success books, if you read, Gary Vee or anybody like that, they'll tell you the earlier you start your day, the more successful you'll be. The successful people start early. So, this is crazy to me, but somebody like Mark Wahlberg, if you really, Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch, if you want to call him successful, but he gets up at 2:30 every day.
And do that when you're going to sleep at 2.
Well, facts. I do work all night. That's true. But so is that kind of has that always been, something for you that you're an early riser, early starter, or is that something that you've learned,
I wouldn't Yeah, I wouldn't say always. It's kind of been a little on and off, but definitely for the last 3.5 years since I've been a part of. I don't know if you guys have heard of Eric Thomas. He's the number one motivational speaker in the world. ET, the hip hop preacher. He has this community called Breathe University that's about professional development and personal development. And so I joined that community in 2018, the latter part of the year, and ever since then, I was hopping on the accountability calls. And when I started out, like there's even a phrase that I'm known for in the community in terms of like bedside Baptist, because I started out my camera off, not saying nothing, and just really like quiet. I for sure was in the bed, but just like the quote that Ariana had mentioned in terms of building that muscle, just doing it on a consistent basis and starting to get more comfortable to where now I'm on camera, I'm sharing, and now I've been the lead for that community the last 2.5 years. So it definitely didn't start out that way, but that's where it is now.
Yes. Well, I have to say this as well. You have beautiful skin. Beautiful skin. And, if anybody knows, that goes from everybody knows, shout out to Phaedra, that it comes from within. It's what you put in your body. It's the sleep that you get. It's the exercise. So I imagine that being that you're up by 6, you probably see bedtime at a reasonable hour. You probably get a good amount of sleep. And yeah. Now, are you I did see a little Starbucks or, a little coffee cup. So you do have that vice, but are you preferably a more plant-based, eater, or you just kind of monitor what you put in your body? I know you mentioned physical exercise, so that's obviously part of, your routine every day, but
yeah, no,
what
that's
else?
interesting.
Yeah. What else do you do? Your skin, I'm looking, I'm like, I got makeup on. I told her the camera a little further away.
Thank you. Yeah, I have some tea in here. I actually don't drink coffee, but this is a medicine ball because I'm getting over this little cold. But I don't necessarily have a specific diet or regimen. I have been more intentional this week in particular. Like, you know what? I want to kind of stay away from meat. So I got some jackfruit and made some jackfruit tacos. I did, or not necessarily meat, but like I guess chicken, or I still eat fish, and so like more of the pescatarian type deal. But just being a little bit more intentional. It's not that like, oh, I don't eat this, but just being more intentional. I've never really ate red meat like that growing up, so naturally I don't tend to do that. So that's already great for me. So it's just more so like, if I want to be a little bit more intentional about the results that I'm looking to achieve, maybe I want to have more shakes because I'm looking to, drop some pounds this week or whatever the case may be. So it's really just mindful and being in tune with my body is kind of how I go about it.
Yeah. I like that this conversation is coming up because that's actually one of my intentions, like I said, is to, just be more aware, more intentional about what I'm actually eating. So in the morning, I'm not a big breakfast eater, but, the hubby and the kids leave, for work and school. And instead of maybe grabbing one of my kids' Pop-Tarts because I'm about to come back, climb into bed and watch, my daily pop or whatever it is, I said, let's go ahead and make a shake. Or yesterday I was out and about, we all had haircuts. Fresh, guys, nice and fresh. So, they wanted McDonald's, hubby wanted Mexican. I went to Vibe Health Bar, shout out to them here in Sacramento, and got an awesome Power Bowl, garbanzo beans and fresh chicken, and, just really good. I got a couple of detox shots, and I know, my birthday month, look, y'all, I revert to being 25, okay? Kicking it with all of our friends from college. Like, that's my whole mentality. So I know that there's probably not going to be the best done, but, like my youngest son, he is 10. Him and I, we prefer, like garden burgers. Our hubby and Deuce, who's named after my husband, so he's named Deuce. If we could have a cow in our front yard, they will go ahead and take care of that and eat that cow. They're meat eaters for sure. But it is very important. I know, at least for me, because we know that MS chose to live with me. I've got to be, because I don't use big pharma. I don't use any medication. I have not consistently used any MS medication since 2006. I just try to watch what I do. We were in LA in October, 3 days, hardcore. We met with my husband's fraternity had a formal. So we all got back together and really acted like we were back in Davis. Then took the boys to Universal Studios. I drove down there on little sleep, didn't sleep that whole time. So I knew when I came back, like it was like lots of protein, lots of sleep, like lots of water. So I have to be aware of those things. Everybody knows I'm a Tito's girl. Love me some Tito's. Love some very good craft beers. But I have to be aware of that. That's not on the treatment plan for MS. So these are things that you have to be aware of. So sometimes to be able to fix things or, improve things within your life, whether it's medical issues or whatever, you have to start within yourself. You can't just count on big pharma. You can't count on your doctor the whole time. You have to listen to your body and become in tune with your body and the signals that it gives you. So
yeah,
like
and really going back to the decisions that you're making. Like you could have gone to where they were going, but you chose to make a different decision because you knew that decision was going to give you a different result that you were looking for.
Yeah. And you have to really think about the quality of your life. Do you want to be sitting on the proverbial, porch with your significant other when you guys are 90 hollering at each other because you guys can't hear, but you're there, you can get up and do the shuffle or whatever the dance will be then. You know what I'm saying? Like you are still spry. Your great grandkids are like, I'm going to great grandma's house. She's cracking, like, do you want to be able to do that? Or do you want to be, or do you want to try to live a life through pains and aches and, I got to take my 30 medications with me if I'm going to go to Reno for 2 days. Like, is that what you guys want to do? So I know for me, I told my boys, the day that you graduate June 1st, June 2nd, we are dropping you off at college. Take plane, airplane, ship, whatever we got to do. We're dropping you off. And they both go, but school doesn't start yet. And we're like, that's the skill that you're going to acquire in college. You're going to meet people. You're going to learn. Make sure you have a tent. You'll be good. You'll be good. But I'm serious because then I want to get back to, we're still always us, but I want to see the world, do all those things, go to France in that one town that 6 months out of the year, they're completely nude. Completely. They go to the bank, the store, everything nude, everything. I want to go there for like people too. Like, I have visions. I have dreams. So everything that you do now definitely affects what you're able to do later. Yes, but I love that I can talk about that with you. So we're gonna move on, guys, here because she's a busy, busy, busy woman. Okay, let me tell you, you must have the greatest airline points. Like you don't sit in the regular area in the airport at all. You probably go to the you go. Yeah, because this one, let me tell y'all, okay? Let me tell you about travel. We talked about travel last week. And there's so many organizations for Black people to join to be able to travel. Let's say you want to see the world, but you never have a friend that they don't want to leave. They're like, if it's not Vegas, if it's not Miami, I don't want to go. And you're like, you don't want to go. I was gonna say Dubai, but we know what's going on in Dubai right now, so I don't want to say that. What's always been going on in Dubai, but Tibet, Turks and Caicos, or, just you want to go walk across to look at the Great Wall of China. And all your friends are like, what? China? What? The Chinese restaurant? Sure. But I don't want, so you are somebody that is traveling is in you, but you don't have anybody to support you. You can travel by yourself, or you can join these Black travel groups that are allowing people to go and see the world. And, maybe you may not go with the group, but maybe this organization can help you to go, you know what? They don't mess with Black people. Don't go there. Or this is what you need to do. Make sure you don't wear a fanny pack. Make sure you don't do this because you're immediately known as a tourist. So traveling is huge. What would you say that, I know that it seems like you travel more for your business and, and to educate and things like that, but what does it provide to you? What does being able to get out, see different parts of the country and the world, what has that added to your life?
Yeah, it's an added level or layer of exposure, right? Because when we think about the environment that we're in right now, like we can only produce or, really replicate what we're seeing that's around us. I mean, it's a little different now because we have technology. We can Google Turks and Caicos and like, oh, okay, now I'm exposed to what that is. But
Right?
it's a completely different experience when you're actually going to that place, wherever that may be, and you're immersing yourself in their culture, their way of living. It just adds a whole, different perspective in terms of like your personal thoughts and, how you see life, and just giving you a different or an added vision or perspective when, it comes to the everyday things that you do. So it's really important to me because that level of exposure, it's almost like, no other way to get it other than, the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Yeah. And you become, I know for me, I took my boy, we went on a cruise. Well, I want to say not me, but mother-in-law has been hinting every holiday for years. Don't y'all want to get together and go on a cruise? And everybody acts like they don't hear. Like, oh, pass me the dressing. Do this. Oh, everybody acts like they don't hear. So she sold a house in Richmond, and all of a sudden, this was 2019. No, 2018. Sitting at home. It's the end of, beginning of 2019. So we're sitting at home. All of a sudden, I get an email. My husband gets an email. And then we didn't know it's at the same time, but my niece and nephew, my brother-in-law, all getting an email. She had gone ahead and paid for everybody to go on a cruise. Now we were like, oh, she's getting us on there. For me, my parents made sure that we traveled. They made sure, whether it was Disneyland, Reno, the Bonanza Ranch in Nevada, like if it was anywhere like that. And then, we went on a cruise, went on the Disney cruise. So I've been to Florida, I've been to Bahamas, we went to Jamaica. So I remember the memories that were created, but also remember that I've seen other parts of the world. I will tell you now, my children have more stamps in their passports than I do, because it's very important for us to open their eyes. So seeing them once we got off that boat in Jamaica, seeing them see kids that are their same age, but that they were walking on the street with no shoes on, or that they were selling, I could see, like I watched them as we drove around, and I could see them processing and realizing like, this is different than what I see every day. They were so influenced. My babies thought that they could walk around Jamaica with no shoes on. I was like, if you don't put your this, they can't touch you, or like shoes on, boy. So, but so what it does for a child, and it allows them to open their eyes, it still does the same thing for us. We never stop learning, guys. We never stop learning. And like I said, being grateful for what you have is huge. I remember seeing somebody cook in a big, like it looked like a witch's cauldron, big, to me, she was on the front, lawn, just mixing something. And then I remember their dog being so emaciated. This is what I remember from 14 going to Jamaica. And I remember thinking, ooh, I bet not be upset because I don't get those Tims for Christmas. I bet, you know what I'm saying? Like it made me realize at 13, 14, like I have so much more than these people. My mom doesn't have to cook on the front lawn. So we'll talk more about your travels, because that plays into everything that you're doing. But we are going to allow for everybody, if you haven't already, let's get your spark and salutation going. You guys know, get your edibles, get your drinks, get your pre-roll, go ahead and do what's spiritual to most people who are, connoisseurs. You like to break it down, get your grinder together, roll up, do what you do, roll up, like DMX says. But this is going to lead us, because for this spark and salutation, RIP. Still can't believe it that he's no longer with us. But so for this episode, a brand that I'm loving right now. I mean, loving. Hubby can attest. I don't make purchases of products too often. I get what medicine that we need for the week or whatever, and then I keep it moving. We had a drive to go see my mother-in-law the other day. Very stressful. There was a dispensary right next door to us. I was like, we're going to go there. And plus it was traffic coming through Davis. If you guys know anything about afternoon traffic coming through Davis, coming back to Sacramento, it's like everybody in California is driving at that time. So I was like, you know what, let's go ahead. I'm going to go over to the dispensary over here. Shout out to Highway 80 Dispensary. And I'm going to grab something, we'll go over here to the Walmart parking lot, hit it real quick, see if the traffic's gone down. I ended up picking up these pre-rolls called Fruit. I've seen them a lot. You guys know I do a lot of demos and education in dispensaries, and I've been seeing this around. And I honestly thought the packaging when I first saw it that maybe it was a fruit roll-up. Honestly thought, edibles industry is growing like crazy. So I thought that. But they actually have pre-rolls, and I do believe vapes as well. Their pre-rolls are fire. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I love to educate. We all know that the percentage of THC is not completely indicative of the high that you'll get. Okay, it's about the terps. It's about the natural essential oils, those natural juices that are within the plant. This company does infused pre-rolls, 1 gram, and I'm going to tell you, the one that we had that first day was orange tangy. I haven't coughed like that since the very first time. Oh, I don't know. The very first time, sorry guys, hubby's doing this producing here. Saying that I'm moving too much. Didn't know he was trying to get the close-up shot. My bad, the hubby. So this is the indica. And if you guys can see, 50% THC. For those of you that are chasing that number, 50% here. Oh, there we go. I don't want to get off camera, but I have the other packages that I've purchased this week. That is my 4th one. Okay, let's just say, and that was the Thursday. I'm saying week. So 3 days. But after the first one, I'm going to tell you, it was like that very first lituation again, very first one. And if you guys remember my first time getting high, I watched Don't Take the Girl video and cried and ate and cried, and laughed and then ate and cried and then watched Seinfeld. It was a whole thing.